People who grew up middle or upper class, what did you not believe about low-income households, but it was actually true? That kids had to share rooms with their siblings. I thought that it only happened in the movies. That a vacation isn't yearly, it's a once-in-a-lifetime event. At this time of year I'm reminded that our vacations growing up were always a trip to a relative's house. Never stayed in a hotel until I was an adult. Same here. My vacation was a whole week at my grandmother's house. Some people literally cannot go to the doctor. If they get sick, they just hope that they get better or they fucking die. That's it. Same things with pets. Some people can have pets because if the pet gets sick, then they can afford to help it. In the UK, I have genuinely encountered people from wealthy and rural backgrounds, who genuinely thought that house numbers were only an American thing, and that every house in Britain had a name. I'd hate to be a postman if that were the case. Eating out at restaurants isn't common for everyone. My mom gave a girl on my basketball team a ride home from an away game. I can't remember what the reason. We decided to grab a bite to eat, and asked her if she had a preference. She picked a buffet place, saying that it is where her family goes. Turns out it was the only restaurant she'd been to, other than fast food from time to time. A few months later she was with us at an Italian place that was slightly upscale. She didn't know how to order, so my mom did it for her. For dessert, she asked for cherry cheesecake and then whispered to me that she'd just scraped the cherries off. I flagged down the server and had them change it to plain cheesecake. I felt so sorry for her, because she was just uncomfortable. I also realized I was pretty spoiled, and appreciated my parents much more. I grew up poor and my husband grew up rich. He didn't know that people eat top ramen for dinner or how to make it. I had to teach my 23-year-old boyfriend how to boil fucking water and put noodles in. Thought food stamps were stamp book you trade for specific food items. Did not know utilities could be turned off due to non-payment. Did not even realize people didn't pay their bills. My family talks a lot and asks a lot of questions. My husband's family found it very offensive at first, assuming we were prying and they were ashamed of their answers. The kid not going on the field trip wasn't uninterested, his parents didn't have the money for him to go. Many of us thought he was just a bad kid. Same thing with homework. My parents assisted appropriately, other kids had no help at all. Some kids didn't have money to play sports in school. Some kids had to work and give their parents their money to pay bills. The list goes on forever. I have learned so much from my husband. That some kids only got hand-me-down clothes and rarely got something new of their own. I grew up super well off and still got hand-me-downs, but that's exactly how your parents were able to raise you super well off. Not spending money where they didn't have to. Many rich people cling tighter to their money than poor people. Not something I couldn't believe, but something I didn't really realize. The temperature of the house is strictly controlled in the houses of lower income people that I know. When I was a kid, I'd turn the heat up to 80, and set the AC at 65. I'll state the opposite perspective. There were brief times in my childhood, during which I was hungry. There just wasn't any food, or if there was anything it was like crackers and stale cereal and stuff. I remember watching a Pizza Hut commercial on TV, and thinking how amazing that would be. And this was real hunger. Very brief periods at the end of the month, while my single and disorganized mother was waiting for payday, after which she would make one trip to the grocery store every month. Then, as an adult, right when I got out of the military, I had a hard time getting fully on my feet, and I experienced some longer stretches of hunger, no more than 2 or 3 days, but that's a very long time when you're hungry. Somehow, I always managed to have a roof over my head, but it was close. Then on to my family. My kids are 21 and 17. Within a month they'll be 22 and 18, adults, technically. They have never known true hunger. Anytime they were hungry, food was available to them. Pretty much whatever food they wanted. If they ever wanted more, there was more. whether at a restaurant, at a baseball game, at a mall, or a drive-thru on the road. They are not in a position to appreciate how proud I am of that accomplishment. I don't know if they will ever know true hunger. To some degree, that is up to them. I assume a lot of middle-class and higher people do not realize that true hunger exists. Kids who go to school hungry nearly every day. Kids who cannot focus on school because they have so little at home. I totally resonate with this. We never got groceries, just food from charities and local churches. I live a comfortable life now but will always know what true hunger feels like. A habit I found that is directly tied to poverty is eating for sustenance only. My boyfriend will eat a meal when he is hungry, food that he desires, whereas I will eat anything just simply to fill my stomach. I don't need to enjoy it. I'll eat a piece of bread just to not be hungry. I don't associate it with pleasure. Apparently, that is not normal. I went to private school and there was a girl that I assume was on scholarship or financial aid, and she always smelled really bad. I saw her putting on deodorant in the bathroom once, and I guess I must have stared a second too long, because she told me that she didn't have anything clean to wear, because her mom didn't have money for the laundromat that week. I couldn't believe that people had to wear dirty clothes until they could go to the laundromat. I just thought everyone had a washing machine in their house. What it meant to not be able to afford something, or to be broke. My parents would say, "We can't afford that," but it really meant, we'd rather spend that $1K on ourselves, on our next vacation / whatever instead of on a new toy, computer, phone for you. We're broke meant, we've used too much money in our checking account. We'd still have saving accounts and investment, of course. So no money really just meant, no more money that we should be spending right now. Because I grew up this way, I viewed money as something that just magically never ran out. I would get really annoyed when my friends would say, "I can't afford that," or "I'm broke" as a reason for not doing something, because I viewed it as an excuse instead of a reality. The first time as an adult when I literally couldn't afford something, because the $50 check I had deposited hadn't gone through and so my debit card was declined, was a surreal and horrible feeling. I suddenly understood what "I'm broke" and "I can't afford that" really meant. That some people have never been out of state. I thought that everyone took vacations multiple times a year. I ride horses, and I was shocked to learn that one of my friends had never been on a horse before. Her response was, "Horseback riding in America is not a poor person thing." That people used credit cards because they didn't have the money at the time, instead of a convenient way to earn points by paying cards off in full each month. Thank you a lot for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel.